All right, everyone, welcome to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for Monday, the 3rd of April, 2017. So today we have the moon in Gemini, which means today we could be feeling quite inquisitive. Mental energy can be strong. Maybe sharing ideas, learning, reading, writing, things like that can be emphasized. Very good way to work with the day. We are in the first quarter phase of the lunar cycle, which means it's a good time to take some steps towards any new beginnings that you felt since last week. Early last week, we had the new moon. And so now we're in the first quarter phase, suggesting taking some steps towards those new beginnings. And it might be challenging to do that because the sun and moon are in a square, but it's that we want to challenge ourselves to initiate those things. So along with that, we got Mercury shifting into Aries, the dispositor of Gemini, the ruler of Gemini there, which means our mind is actually coming into a much clearer part of the chart. We had Mercury in Pisces for a very long time, and now in Aries, it's a much better placement. So our inquisitive mind can be very active. We can have a sense of clarity. We can be very direct in what we're thinking about, in what we're doing, that uses the mind. Or even in communications, being very direct as well. And a very clear sense of our personal needs and wants with Aries also. So even though the mind is in this fiery area, and we got Mars here too, the Sun and Venus are still in Pisces, so it still is a very watery time, dreamy, good for that intuition and receptivity. So those are the placements for the day. No major aspects. We do have Mercury trining up to the North Node, which does suggest maybe learning about our life path. Now, aspects to the North Node aren't that personal, but as an undercurrent to the day, we may actually feel like there's a lot to learn about our life journey. And I think fundamentally for all of us, this does have to do with expressing ourselves. We've had the North Node in Leo last year and this year, which means there's a lot to learn about what we're passionate about and us expressing that passion. All right, so let's go and look at this in more detail when we return. All right, so there it is, the moon in Gemini, the twins, which is all about exchanging. So it can be exchanging in a social situation, usually with our peers or sometimes siblings, but those of equal status, right? Where we're sharing ideas, giving ideas, and it's all about learning. And the more inquisitive we are at this time, I think we'll feel nice and emotionally rooted and grounded. So this might be more on the introverted side of things too, which could be reading books, maybe doing some writing, things like that. So all this watery energy, Sun, Venus in Pisces, still very good for cultivating more essentially acceptance in our life, which was this whole lunar cycle. That's what the new beginnings were from last week. So maybe challenging ourselves here today with how we can have both acceptance, yet wanting to use the mind. The mind doesn't really want to accept. Its natural state is to want to have things figured out. So things like meditation can help the mind here today. Things like relaxation techniques, anything that helps us have a more accepting nature is the challenge, but can be very constructive. It actually helps the mind when we're much more present and accepting of things. So along with that, if there has been anything since early last week that you have started since the new moon in Pisces, can be a great week to take the steps towards attaining that or achieving that. Now, Mercury is shifting into Aries this early part of the week, so the mind is getting more active or more clear or more fiery and even passionate. So again, things like our communication can be very strong, very direct. Anything that does involve the mental energy can be fiery and passionate as well. So essentially what Aries is about is understanding more about ourselves and what we want. And so I think we have that shift taking place going into this week. Not to mention the fact that Mars has already been in here, suggesting that it has been a great time for taking action, taking steps towards, again, cultivating those personal wants and needs of ours anyways. All right, so that's the placements. In terms of the aspects, we do have this minor Mercury trining up to the North Node here today and tomorrow, which does remind us that last year and this year has been about learning about our self-expression. That's been the North Node transiting Leo, which is all about understanding more about what we enjoy in life. And it might be for some of us hobbies, interests, for others a bit of entertainment, others bringing in a bit of fun and playfulness into our life. So whatever you feel like has been cultivating throughout last year and into this year regarding some passion, some interest, something that sparks that inner flame, I think it could be a great day of learning about that and using a bit of that mental, practical energy into it, whatever it might be. For example, if it's you decided to start painting, Mercury, the planet of actually the work, can help you actually work on it here today and utilize the skill and develop the skill of that painting craft, for example. All right, but Mercury again is expressing that self-expression anyways. It's the communication, it's the act of actually putting the self-expression into the world or into something tangible. So I think it's a great day for those matters. Now, in terms of the minor lunar aspects, we do have the moon trining Neptune. At the same time, we enter into the first quarter phase officially. And so while it is a good day again for challenging ourselves and taking those steps, there is also an easygoingness about the day. The moon trine Neptune can help us feel a bit more at ease. We're more willing to go with the flow and accept things. And that very much supports all of this Piscean energy I was talking about before. Now, I don't think we're going to be feeling this very strongly, but I do want to mention it. The moon is going to be in a T-square this second half of the day with Jupiter and Pluto. It's been an ongoing square taking place since last week. So we could be feeling perhaps a bit deep the second half of the day. If you are in Europe and the East, you do want to sort of watch, this will be more of the energy for tomorrow, the 4th for you. But generally, second half of the day or early tomorrow, there might be a bit of this feeling deeply or maybe feeling strongly. And the best way of working with that has been cultivating this Jupiter square Pluto since last week, which is understanding that, yes, things are taking time, things are expanding, but there is a lot of fears coming up about it. There's a lot of deep changes we may still want to or need to make in order to cultivate those possibilities and potentials. But since last week, it's been an excellent time to actually take those steps towards making the changes that we do want to see for those possibilities. And so today, I think the second half may be a great time to do that, to take those steps. If we're feeling it, then actually initiating it and cultivating whatever it is that we can start to implement towards those possibilities. All right, and that goes hand in hand with the first quarter phase. Again, a great day for taking steps anyways, learning about that self-expression and passion. And the moon in Gemini today, essentially great for learning about the life path, but just learning in general, reading, writing, sharing, communication, and integrating that with this new fiery perspective on things, this clear identity, this clear sense of self that can facilitate the process. All right, so I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you again for all of your support, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.